Welcome to sunny Brighton. It has been 15 years since I last watched this show. That is, wow, I am an old woman. I am. The acting is better than I remembered, but the fashion is worse. That sums this show up. It does. Hi guys, welcome to a video, and in today's video, I'm just going to be reviewing the 2005 Channel 4 series Sugar Rush. As a disclaimer, this review is largely about the first season and not the second, so there will probably be a second video about the second season. That's a lot of seconds. Girl power. So Sugar Rush is based on the novel of the same name by Julie Burchill, and it follows the trials and tribulations of teenager Kim, who is dealing with both adolescence and navigating her sexuality. Her family has recently moved to Brighton from London, and she finds herself with a huge crush on her new boy-crazy wild card of a best friend, Maria Sweet, also known as Sugar. Lesbian hijinks ensue. Look, I have a lot to say about this series. I do. This is going to be one of those. But let's start with what I liked. First of all, I have to mention how much I love the opening credits to this show. It takes me right back to watching this as a teenager in my bedroom, and it also really makes me want to go back to Brighton. Oh, I had many an experience in Brighton as a teenager. I did. Yes, they were lesbian. Yeah. What I love about this show the most is how refreshingly authentic it is, particularly dialogue-wise for the early 2000s. It's also fairly accurate in its horrific depiction of what it is to be a teenage girl, especially one who is trying to navigate their sexuality. The show captures the oppressive heteronormativity surrounding young people, the fear of being gay, and the intense gay crush on your straight best friend incredibly well. I have to say, looking at this series with a critical eye, I was really impressed with the acting, particularly from Olivia and Lenora. There was so much depth to their performances which really stood out to me, especially in this kind of a light-hearted show. There's some really touching moments between Kim and Sugar that are quite raw. For example, the moment when Sugar realizes that Kim has feelings for her, and also their conversation about rape was incredibly powerful. And these moments between them highlighted how much range these two actors have, because most of Sugar Rush is frothy and comedic, so the fact that they can switch from that to a more heavy and demanding scene shows just how versatile and talented they are. Sugar in particular is a very interesting character to me. She's set up as this kind of carefree wild card, so much so that you forget that she's just a teenage girl. And the show does a good job of creating moments which remind you of just how vulnerable she really is underneath it all. And I love that they took the time to give her character that depth and an authenticity. It's also hilarious seeing a very young baby Andrew Garfield in this series. He looks like a newborn lamb. I initially said he looks like a newborn worm, but I think that's a little bit, could be taken the wrong way. It's a lamb. It's like a baby lamb. Stella is also very hot. That's the video. I think my favourite episodes from season 1 have to be episode 6 and the finale, mainly because there were some really powerful moments in these episodes which completely sucked me in and reminded me of how good of a show Sugar Rush really is. Okay, so moving on to my criticisms. Here we go. Look, Kim's whole plan to date rape Sugar was not the one, even from an entertainment perspective. And I know that this show loves to kind of push boundaries and it's quite edgy, but they treated date rape as this kind of cheeky joke which just did not land. It was a poor choice. I understand that Kim had an intense crush and they were trying to kind of portray this on the show, but there were other ways to do that. There were. And I appreciate this show a lot, but there were definitely elements of it which are cringe-inducing and that definitely tap into the lesbian predatory stereotype. And this is one of those broad and complex conversations because, on the one hand, yes, women do desire and objectify other women, but the way that Kim desired and objectified Sugar came across to me as male a lot of the time. You know, the constant objectification of Sugar and the sense of entitlement that Kim has. She says at one point that Sugar is rightfully hers. It's not generally a female approach, it's a male one. But look, this came out in 2005, so you can't expect perfect representation. I think this was just after the L Word had come out as well, so you know, you can't expect it to be perfect. And I also appreciate that I'm looking at the show with today's critical eye, but still, it definitely veered into problematic territory. It did. I suspect this was to do with the pressure to add a hypersexualized element to the show, which is often used to sell lesbian media to a general audience, and also to do with who is involved creatively. And these two factors can heavily obscure lesbian representation on screen. All of that said, on the other hand, the show does also take issues such as sexual violence very seriously. Kim and Sugar have this incredibly moving scene where Sugar is describing her sexual encounters with men, and Kim points out that it's rape. And what's heartbreaking is Sugar doesn't even realise what's been happening to her. And this is an incredibly important conversation and an accurate portrayal of why rape culture thrives so much in the real world. And what I love the most about this show is I don't think it ever set out to kind of make a statement about anything. It's really just a reflection of how things really are. And I think that makes their more serious scenes that much more impactful because there's this element of truth to them. So the show has positive and negative aspects in regards to its approach to certain issues. So finally, moving on to the relationship between Kim and Sugar. It's obviously very complicated, but I think the show did a fantastic job in portraying that complexity, particularly with how the lines are blurred between friendship and romance for both Kim and Sugar. I don't personally think that Sugar is bisexual, but I think she cares about Kim, and their night together was an extension of that. There's also this element of security and care that Kim offers Sugar, which I think Sugar took for granted at first, but later realised just how precious it was and didn't want to lose it, which possibly led her to have feelings of jealousy over the other women that Kim was seeing. Whereas with Kim, it's obvious that she's gay and that she's got it bad for Sugar, but I think her sense of romantic entitlement definitely eases over time and she grows to appreciate their friendship for what it is. And it's an interesting dynamic to watch on screen because we rarely see things like this explored seriously, even today. I definitely don't think they would work in a long-term romantic relationship. Sugar is too undefined and too much of a free spirit, whereas Kim is the total opposite. But in a platonic sense, I think they balance each other out and are definitely soulmates of a kind. However, I very much enjoyed the romance between them. I did. And I was glad that when they slept together, it was consensual. And not because Kim was being entitled or predatory, or because Sugar was drunk and playing mind games. I think that the show brought them together in the right way. It's complicated and difficult to capture because lines do get blurred and dynamics can change, but the show manages to portray this quite well, and I certainly recognised a lot of my own experiences with straight women in this show. Overall, I have a soft spot for this show, mostly because of the nostalgic element. It takes me back to my wilted youth, it does. But I also think it's an incredibly interesting piece of work which explores complex and important issues which are still relevant today with an authenticity. Yes, I still have a crush on Lenora, I do. Okay guys, if you've seen Sugar Rush, let me know your own thoughts down in the comments section below. I feel like my fellow 90s kids are gonna come out of the woodwork. If you're a lesbian, if you're a woman who likes other women, come and join the Sapphic Underground Club. Just come and join it. You might regret it, but life is full of regrets. Don't forget to subscribe for instant disappointment, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.